Then join Metalcore. Join the right.
Although allegedly going under development as a third-person shooter action-adventure game, it was at E3 back in 2006 that the then next-generation FPS Haze was announced to the world. It appeared to be a first-person shooter set in very luscious-looking environments, with a war waging between two sides, Mantel Corporation's military and the rebel side, the Promise Hand. Under development by Free Radical Design, mostly known for the Timesplitter series, a lot of interest was sparked for Haze. What was shown seemed promising. Screenshots packed along with articles about the announcement and demo on display at E3 got gamers pretty excited, and I was no exception. I was still in school at the time, and whenever more news about the game came out, me and a lot of my friends got more and more hyped. I remember seeing an interview with the scriptwriter for the game back then, Rob Yescombe, and I'll tell you, if I want anyone writing the script for my game, it's a guy like this.
Mantel as a company are a huge international business. They have fingers in many business pies, right down to the foam in this microphone, the rubber in your shoes, the air conditioning we're breathing. They're involved in it all. Two of their key aspects are the military and biopharmaceuticals, medical support.
Oozing with charisma, he seems genuinely into this project, and so does the director David Doak.
We've done a lot of FPS AI over the years, and we've got a lot of strong ideas about what to do, and we really want to break away from the kind of fairly pre-scripted linear feel you get to it.
Seeing enthusiasm for the game by core members of the dev team like this got my hopes up even more. As I mentioned before, while in development, Haze was heading in a very different direction from what it eventually became, but Ubisoft, who were handling the publishing for the game, started gearing Free Radical towards making it an FPS. This was no doubt to try and compete with other titles in the genre, such as Activision's Call of Duty and Bungie's Halo series of games, which although were hugely popular at the time, was still on the uprise, gaining bigger and bigger audiences. A year after its initial announcement, at E3 2007, another trailer was released for Haze. And if there's anything I'm a sucker for in video game trailers, it's live-action footage set in a game's universe.
The name is Shane Carpenter. As one of Mantel's most elite soldiers, I was trained to handle anything.
Something about the aesthetic of seeing a live-action actor coupled with in-game footage is just, pure eye candy to me. I love seeing it. This trailer got me really excited. Although, in my opinion, it did make the mistake of giving away a big plot twist. It's not like you couldn't see it coming from just knowing the storyline of the game, but the main character, Shane Carpenter, does switch sides and joins the rebels.
Their lies, their nectar. That day, I changed sides.
It was also at that same event that Haze's exclusivity for Sony's PlayStation 3 was announced, and after that, there was a lot of talk from the gaming community that this was going to be Sony's big answer to Halo, and that drew myself in even more, being a little bit of a PS3 fanboy at the time. The game's release date was set back a couple times, and eventually settled on May the 23rd, 2008. The few months prior to the release of the game, massive hype was accumulated for Haze. I remember seeing constant arguments between friends that Haze was going to be better than Halo, that the Xbox 360 was going to become obsolete because of Haze, and other silly things like that. Every PS3 owner I knew at the time was hopping on this hype train and fighting for the conductor's seat. When May the 23rd, 2008 rolled around, Haze hit store shelves, and it went right past me. I can't exactly remember why, but I believe a couple weeks leading up to the game's release, I was just getting engrossed with other titles at the time, and I forgot about the fact that Haze was right around the corner. After its release, it wasn't talked about anywhere near as much as it was prior, and it wasn't until a few months later that I remembered, oh yeah, Haze is a thing! So I looked up some review scores for the game, and they were all less than stellar, but nevertheless, it always kind of stuck around in my head. Recently, I stumbled across a really cheap copy of the game in a second-hand electronics store, and the moment I saw it on the shelf, I picked it up and held it like a lost memory, staring at it, thinking, what was it like? What was so bad about it? Was it even bad? It then popped into my head that it'd be perfect for me to cover here. This is Haze. Today's game eluded me for so long, let's just bite right into it. Starting with The campaign. As I touched upon briefly earlier, you take on the role of Sergeant Shane Carpenter, and here's your crew.
I'm Morgan DeVal. This is Corporal Pesci.
Hi there, sir.
Lance Corporal Tier,
Good morning, sir.
and we call this one Watch Trap.
They say that because I'm skinny, see?
Like a watch strap, sir.
Boosh!
Oh, I love that. I have a big soft spot for dumb and cheesy dialogue. Your first mission is basically to go and take out some Promised Hand guys. Nothing special, but the stupid dialogue on the chopper ride over builds me up to it way more than it really should. I just want to go take out some damn rebels now. How about you, Pesci? That's the spirit. So we finally get to our destination, and I am pumped! Promised Hand scum! Die! Oh. Tutorial time. Yay! R1 is shoot, triangles reload, circles weapon swapping, X is jump, L3 to crouch, R3 to aim, L1 grenade, start to pause, select for objectives, R2 to melee, and L2. Now that's a special button. There's a gameplay mechanic I haven't covered yet, and it was pushed as a big part of the game during marketing. That's the ability to inject nectar into yourself. This is a drug that Mantel produces. It allows soldiers to think clearer, fight longer and harder in the battlefield. It lasts for a certain duration, and that time can be increased by taking out your foes. Under its influence, enemies glow bright orange, and you gain a health increase, being a lot tougher to kill. But be careful not to hold down L2 too long, or you'll overdose and lose a lot of control over yourself. Back to killing. Once you're done taking out the trash, you'll find that some rebels have stolen the nectar from a nearby crashed Mantel aircraft. You then get told to check up on the pilot, and... oh no!
Hey!
Oh no!
Hey! Hey!
You okay?
Look at me! Can you see me?
I can see you.
Do you know what I used to do before I joined up? I was a boxer. Semi-pro.
Did he even have a name? This is something I see a lot in games. Developers just kill off characters that had no development, and it's played really sad, but they had no development, and you knew nothing about them, and it's just weird. I get where they're trying to go with this. I mean, if you come across another human being or an animal in real life, and you have to comfort them till their dying breath, that's sad. You're gonna get hit in the feels, but that's real life. And it's not as if I haven't had the same hit in the feels from a video game before, but I just did this. I killed all of those people as a mandatory part of the campaign. This game just isn't built up for sad, long-winded deaths. I'm sorry, Boxer Guy.
Hey, you getting newbie nerves, man?
God damn it, Watchstrap. You're so quirky. After heading back to base, we get news of a Promised Hand leader named Skincoat, and Watchstrap weighs in with his strategic thoughts on the matter.
Why doesn't the general tell that skin coat guy to go suck some balls?
He doesn't need to. The general sent us here. That's his message.
But I'd still love to hear him say it. Go suck some balls, skin coat.
So, we head off on the second mission. And oh boy, let me tell you about my story with the second mission. While on our way to another location, we spot Skincoat right below us. As we get out to chase him though, he hops into a vehicle and starts driving away. We go after him, and while fighting some rebels, I crashed into some barrels and got set on fire. the only way to stop being on fire is to shake your controller to make use of the PS3's 6-axis function. I'm broke, and my two PS3 controllers that have 6-axis stopped working some time ago. So because of my lack of funds, I had to snatch up a third-party controller just to function my PS3. It doesn't have 6-axis. You see where this is going? So I just ignored the fire, died, and tried again, this time being really careful not to go up in flames. We came up to a section with explosives, and I was told not to slow down, so I accelerated through it and died. But I tried again, and got the car stuck. Maybe I shouldn't be a sergeant. But I took charge and flipped it back over, and then accidentally run over one of my squad members. I got out to see if he was okay, and then I was shot in the back by one of my own troopers. I can understand. I deserved it. So I finally got to the next checkpoint, just in time to die. There was immediately another explosive segment, and just like I was told before, I kept speeding up to get through it, and kept getting set on fire and dying. Took me about 5 deaths to figure out that no, speeding up is not the right thing to do. Taking it slow yielded much better results. As in, not death. So after taking it slow, I'm about to hit the next checkpoint, and random barrels fall from the sky and set me on fire. Just as I hit the checkpoint. So of course I died, but I did hit the checkpoint. So I spawned back in and still on fire. I may have said that my other controllers don't work, but that's only half right. They still function, but when they're turned on, they spam control inputs, the equivalent of doing this all the time. But the 6-axis function does still work? So I had to resort to turning one of them on and hoping it doesn't spam the controls for quitting the game or turning off the system while I was shaking it to put out the fire. Pressing forward, we get to some kind of factory, and Morgan bursts out of nowhere and runs over a rebel's crotch and then screams at him.
No one steals our meds!
But he was a ghost, so it's okay. We head inside, and Morgan gives us some pretty sound advice.
We stormed this place a few weeks back. All we found were empty hands.
Empty hands?
What do I teach you boys?
An empty hand is just a grip away from holding a gun.
So?
You gotta take them down before they can pick it up. Boosh!
Boosh! Chill out, buddy.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to join in. Moving along and...
Please report your commanding officer for assistance.
Guys!
Please report your commanding officer for assistance.
There's actually a really cool explanation for all of this, but I'm gonna touch upon it later.
Reactor flow disorder. Administering.
The next couple segments basically involve a bunch of promise hand slaying and flame throwers. I'm not gonna pad this out with a bunch of raging or anything, but just know it was really frustrating. I eventually arrived at some kind of a mill and had to follow some crucibles to get to the next part of my mission. And finally, after a little more killing and chasing, I captured Skin Coat.
I got him!
Oh, you're gonna get it now, motherfucker?
We'll be there in a minute. Hold him. If he speaks, smash his teeth in. Deval out.
I suppose I'd better not speak then.
Shut up!
You tell him, Shane.
Was that you, commanding officer?
Shut up!
Yeah.
He's a sergeant.
A sergeant? Like you? Sounds like he's taking charge to me. This is a strange place, war. Somewhere where we take orders from people we wouldn't give the time of day to in the real world.
Shut up or you lose your teeth, Skin Coat.
Yeah, shut up, Skin Coat.
Is there propaganda that sweet, that you guzzle it down without a second thought? What have you heard? That I eat people? That I wear their skins as a coat? You like it?
It's not really my style, but it looks nice on you.
100% cotton.
So not skin, then?
Do you know what an army's most powerful weapon is?
Bullets.
Confidence. The confidence of its soldiers. If your warriors don't have confidence in their cause, why would they pull the triggers to shoot their bullets? And so they feed you stories about your enemies to make you hate them, to give you the confidence to shoot them.
What are you trying to say?
My friend, there are two sides to every war. Are you sure you're on the right one?
Two sides, you say? You know, Skincoat, maybe you're not such a bad guy. Whoa! Hey! Hey guys, how's it going? I was not befriending him.
Arms.
No, take him in. Yeah, take him in there. I'm not going the one next to you and not with you. But
This is gonna be
I was not befriending him.
you.
No way. No. I was gonna punch his teeth out. Morgan gets poetic and cuts off one of Skincoat's fingers.
I'm gonna take your finger.
Now that we have him captured, we head back to the chopper to take him to base. But Shane hesitates, and then Morgan goes nuts.
What? Did you forget something?
You should run. They know you're not like them.
Carpenter, get aboard, now! That's an order! I know your kind. You know, people like you are pacifists between wars. It's like being a vegetarian between meals. So when it comes to eating some steak, you don't know how the fuck to do it. But not me. I'm a carnivore. A real meat eater. Don't be one of the apes, buddy. Apes are animals, and animals are just food to me.
On our way back to base, Pesci persuades Morgan into cutting both of Skincoat's hands off, but Shane whips out his gun to try and stop it. Right then and there, Skincoat retaliates, and a small shootout ensues, causing us to crash. Shane wakes up in a swamp at the crash site, and discovers that the Nectar Administrator on you is busted. As you start to explore the swamp, you begin hearing voices of past moments, and man, this has got to be my favorite part in the entire game. The atmosphere here is insanely well put together. The surroundings look amazing, and the sound design is perfect.
What is that?
My friend, there are two sides to every war.
We're going this way. You go that way.
While following some fireflies, I find that Mantel has sent in a cleanup squad to take me out, since they can no longer control my nectar. As I'm sneaking around, I come across a rebel who says he was sent for me, and he leads me to safety in some kind of underground passage. As you're heading through it, Shane eventually passes out, and after some blurry visuals with poetic talk from Marino, that's Skincoat's actual name, you wake up in a bed with Marino next to you. As in, like, he's in a chair next to you, not that he's in bed with you. That would be weird. He asks if you can stand and begins to help you outside, while you both have a very touching and well-written discussion about humanity, free will, that kind of jazz. This again, like the swamp, is one of my favorite moments in the game. It's just really nice to see something different outside of the meat-headed Mantle Army Boosh type dialogue. Once you get outside, your old crew shows up!
You're meat! Boosh!
With Morgan screaming about rebels being apes and meat this and meat that and usual shtick. He eventually runs out of ammo and takes off, leaving Pesci and Watchstrap behind to clean up the rest of us. And I didn't want to kill them! They're adorable, but I had to. So after learning a new rebel skill of how to disarm and snatch my enemy's weapons, and a less than stellar fight, I take them both out.
Oh, shit! It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay.
Stop saying that!
It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay.
Oh my god! What have I done? You then hear news of a distress signal and head out to find its source. While taking a long path across a beach to get there, you learn another few rebel skills. Playing dead, if you take a lot of damage you can drop down with the L2 button and, well, play dead. You can get up whenever you feel like after this with a couple well-placed taps of the X button. You also get told that this works because of how Nectar blinds Mantel Troopers to the horrors of war, meaning that they can't see dead bodies. That's actually a really badass idea. Props to whoever came— Oh! Oh, that guy wasn't a ghost! Oh, that must have hurt! Oh, my ball! Making nectar grenades, by holding square while over a dead trooper's body, you pick up their nectar pack and combine it with a grenade you have. These disperse a cloud of nectar to force Mantel Troopers into overdosing so that they start attacking their own people. And how to convert any scavenged ammo into the right kind for whatever gun you currently have out. These are all really useful abilities, and well executed. The game actually starts to get way more fun as a rebel. I mean, I enjoyed being a macho trooper and all, but I love the idea of a neatly adapted underdog type position. You eventually find where the distress signal is coming from, an old cargo ship. And more importantly, who it's coming from.
I was hoping you'd come.
Oh my god, Oh my god, it's Tid!
Your pack's slipping, sir. Let me give you a hand.
He was the slightly normal one. He explains that when he helped us with our nectar pack on the elevator, he turned down our gauge a tad to allow us to see the reality of things a little better. He then opens up a shipment container and reveals a bunch of Mantel Trooper bodies, but none of them have any bullet wounds. He explains that nectar is what led to this, and that the reason Mantel sent us all over here is because in this area the plant that is used to create nectar grows, and Mantel is destroying them to corner the pharmaceuticals market. You both eventually deduce that the control center for all the nectar administrators on troopers must be on high ground, and the closest place of significant height is the observatory, which becomes your next goal. Oh, and Tyr dies.
Take the shot.
Mantel Troopers show up and you have to fight your way out of the ship. Once you do, Marino radios you on the beach and tells you to get to the roof of a nearby hotel so that you can be picked up by a chopper. After ascending the hotel, taking out enemies on each floor and the roof, you hop into the heli and get on a mounted machine gun to mow down hostile aircraft and troopers. Marino starts telling you a pretty grim story right before you receive a call that the home village is under attack.
There was a sergeant like you. They had already defeated us. But he picked up a child, a baby. He beat her bottom lip clean off like he was eating an apple. Then he threw her in the fire. She landed to the side of the flame, so they only burned one side of her. Her arms shriveled up, like overcooked meat.
What the fuck?
After another section of taking out enemies by air, you land to assist from the ground. Here you take out 3 artillery mortars and head into the village to clean out the rest of Mantel. Once everything is said and done, you and some other rebels have to escort— don't worry, not that kind of escort— a missile across a bridge, as it's your last major weapon to use against Mantel's mobile land base. After assisting it across, you have to blow the bridge by arming some explosives to stop troopers and the like from following you across. Finally, you start to head up to the conservatory, in a pretty cool vehicle sequence. A few leather straps and whips here and there, but nothing I can't handle. That play on words would have worked a little bit better if I hadn't have said that last part so weird. Now I just feel awkward. Please move on. After arriving at the top of the mountain the observatory is on, you have to take a zipline car journey across a chasm. There's a really dope confrontation with a group of enemies in a passing cart here. You eventually get to the observatory and have to take out a shitload of enemies. Was I just censored? Fuck. Okay, good. Keep it that way. Once you get inside, you have to cut the power and get access to the core of the machine that controls the Nectar Administrators. Then you just fuck up Mantel's shit.
Ken, you've done it! You've done it, haven't you?
Yeah, I got it. How did you know?
The Mantel Troopers here are acting strange. Very strange.
While making your way outside, you come across these two.
I think I did something bad.
Aww.
Excuse me. Did I do something bad?
No, you didn't do anything bad.
I did something bad. I did something bad. Oh, God, I did something bad.
Oh, it's okay, little buddy.
I threw her in the fire. I threw her in the fire.
Oh, you did that. Oh. Okay, that was a little bit bad.
I did something bad.
No, not that bad. Oh god.
Sir! Sir, you're hurt! Sir! 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 Sir!
Oh no. Oh my god. Did you see the strawberry jam that came out of those two? Oh, that was weird. Now, even though the machine for Nectar administrators is offline, troopers that were overdosed are still under its influence. So you have to go around the observatory and take the rest of them out. This creates for a safe landing so that you can get picked up and taken back to base. Once you're there, your last mission is triggered. The final assault. Marino gives an inspirational speech, and afterwards, a soldier comes up to him, expressing feelings of being scared. And Marino's response?
My friend, that feeling, fear, it is just chemicals in your brain. It is an animal instinct.
Wait a minute.
Everything you feel, all these emotions like love, hate, joy, misery, all of it. They're just a series of chemical compounds and electrical impulses in your brain. Don't be an ape.
Oh, I trust you a lot less now. I'm still gonna follow you, but I trust you a lot less now. So, we head out on our final mission. You start off with some ground assault and eventually drive up into the base. From there, you make your way to the main inside bay area and suddenly an enemy aircraft shows up. Once you've dealt with that, you have to find the server room and protect a rebel hacker while he overloads them. But even after that, the base keeps moving and functioning. Marino urgently informs you that it has to be someone manually controlling this thing from up top. So your final task is to head up there and stop this thing once and for all, so that the Promised Hand can send their missile in and destroy the base. After fighting my way up, encountering more aircraft on the main landing of the base, I make it to the control room. Morgan! Fucking knew it.
All these fucking animals were too chicken shit to take control of themselves. So now I'm the captain. You killed my boys.
You're not on Nectar now. You don't have to be crazy anymore. You can be normal.
Normality, buddy, is purely statistical. If 99 out of 100 people act one way, that's normal.
There's only 2 of us here now. So which one of us is normal?
Whichever one of us survives.
The whole game is built up to this, and I am pumped. It is time for the final fight. Boom. Done. But that was anticlimactic. I'm gonna go take all this off now. Now this last piece of dialogue is genuinely heart-touching. I mean, I teared up watching this the first time.
Shane, please, don't tell my mom.
Oh my god! Oh, that is so sad. Oh my god.
Shane!
What?
Get back onto the deck!
Right now?
The missile is inbound!
Fine. So you make your way. I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm fine. So you rush outside and hop into the chopper. The rebels hit their mark, and the base is blown to shit. Then Marino says this.
Positivity, optimism, They're powerful tools in making a country a better, happier place. Don't you think that if the drug can put my people into that frame of mind, it is not such a bad thing? Here it was just mismanaged. I would combine it with free will.
What?
You worry too much, my friend.
If you didn't catch that, Skin Coat here plans on using Nectar for himself. No, I'm happy. I'm glad. I'm very fucking happy. I just wish he'd bought me dinner before he fuck. When it comes to the multiplayer of Haze, unfortunately the servers have been shut down for some time, so I was only able to play custom matches against bots. There are 3 game modes overall: Deathmatch, Team Deathmatch, and Skirmish, which I can't access since it looks like it's online only. In terms of design, the maps are okay. Nothing particularly special, all based on locations within the campaign. And the swamp is nowhere near as cool in its multiplayer form. Both Mantel Troopers and Promised Hand Rebels still have all their abilities from the campaign attached to them. The Playing Dead ability on the Rebel side is a little different though. When you enable it, it does count as a kill for the opposition, but doesn't show up as a death for you. The gunplay can be a little frustrating with the lack of control over movement. The jumping in Haze is fairly useless for mobility, and it shows even more so in a competitive environment such as multiplayer. The same goes for being unable to change look sensitivity. These things didn't matter too much in the campaign, but anyone who's delved into an FPS's online mode knows what a big deal it can be. The AI for the bots is fairly decent, although it does cheap shot you quite a lot, and in TDM your team bots can definitely be assholes sometimes. What were you even aiming for? There's no enemies over here! I wish I could add more, but sadly with the servers being down, I feel I can only say so much about the multiplayer without actually being able to access the online portion. Overall, I wouldn't say I'm especially disappointed with Haze. The hype train being long forgotten by the time I delved into the game was a definite plus. If I'd have bought this game back upon its initial release date for full retail price and during all that hype, I would have had a hard time not crying in agony. But, as a curiosity I picked up for little to nothing, I don't regret the purchase or the time I put into the game. My final score for Haze is 5 booshes out of 10. It can be fun at times, but is very poorly executed as a whole. It had a lot of neat concepts and mechanics that I'd love to see attached to a more well-produced title. It's been a little under 8 years since the game's release, and in my opinion, that's long enough to say a reboot might not be such a bad idea. There's potential here, and I think in the right hands, the world of Haze could be a truly great experience. I appreciate all of you sticking with me through this, and I'll see you in my next review. Take care.